Joining us now on our Book Talk segment, great to welcome a woman who's written a follow-up to a very successful book called It's Okay Not to Share. Latest, it's called It's Okay to Go Up the Slide, Renegade Rules for Raising Confident and Creative Kids. We're joined today by Heather Shumaker from up in the Michigan area today on the telephone. And Heather, good to talk with you. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. Thanks for having me.
I applaud you writing this book because you mentioned some things in there I always thought about myself when I went to school, particularly the homework part. I agree with you. We didn't need homework then. We don't need it now.
I see. So you've been harboring these thoughts all those years.
I've always had them. I said, we're in school 7, 8 hours. Why do we need to do work at home? Home is for playtime.
Right. Well, that's what they're finding, is that for younger children, really, there's enough time spent on the academic side of the brain, and when school's out, they need to focus on other things. So elementary school, there's no benefit, academic benefit for the kids, and there's so much benefit to working on other things, including running around outside.
Yeah, I always hear stories now. Now, we didn't have so much homework that it was 2 or 3 hours a night, but you hear stories now, I guess in the last 10, 15 years, teachers are really piling it on a lot of these kids, which makes a lot of stress in the home. Is that the way it's going right now?
Well, it's being piled on in some cases heavier than it has been, plus it's getting younger and younger. So now there's first grade homework and kindergarten homework and homework in preschool sometimes. So in a lot of families, you're right, there is stress at the kitchen table or in the living room. It's a nightly stress on both sides.
Yeah, I hope people understand this and read your book and take it to heart, because I agree with you. I think maybe a little reading occasionally, do at home, that's fine, but you're getting a whole generation of kids now that are stressed out over everything. Not good.
Yeah, and they need to start off with a positive attitude towards school, and what the research is showing is that homework at young ages can really turn kids against school and learning, and that's bad news if you're starting off in kindergarten and you've got 13 more years to go.
Yeah, right. Another one I agree with you with, recess is right. I like that rule you have in your book. I always enjoyed recess. It gave you a chance to run around, burn off some of that energy.
Yeah. Well, and I'm glad that you had that, because a lot of kids, even very young, kindergarten, first grade, don't have recess at all these days, or their school day is structured so that there's a good percentage of kids. Unfortunately, it tends to be the lower income schools that those kids don't get the recess. And there's also kids who do get recess. There's probably shorter recesses than when we were kids, fewer of them spaced through the day, and some of the time is more organized. They either bring groups in to help set up games for the kids, or say gym class is recess on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah, that's another point you make there, over-organization of what kids do. When I grew up, it wasn't that long ago, but, you recess or after school, you made up your own teams, whatever you're going to play, hockey, football, baseball. You didn't need adults to set that up. Now it seems like kids don't do that anymore. Is that what's going on out there? Everybody has to be told how to have fun.
Yeah, and kids really need that downtime. They need to be able to, even if they don't have a kid next door that they can pick up a game with, be able to follow their own ideas and play on their own or play with the kids that they can find. But they're pretty highly structured into adults telling them what to do, both in school and after school.
Yeah, and you talk about it in the book about you want to teach your kids to have independence, right? But it's tough to do that when you're being told what to do every second.
Yeah, that's very hard. And then, of course, there's a lot of fear driving parents these days, so we're reluctant to let our kids cross the street and go to the park on their own, for example, and have some of those independent games that can really, healthy risk is good for these kids, and it helps them change and grow.
Talk a little bit about, this is, as we said, it's kind of a follow-up to the previous book, which did so well. Do you think these ideas are making their way into not only the school system, but just in parenting in general, or how do you feel about it?
Do you mean the renegade ideas making their way?
Well, yeah, your thoughts in here, which I don't think they're renegade at all, but I mean, is it seen as renegade?
I think what used to be called common sense is now considered pretty radical.
Right.
So some families are embracing this, but the mainstream culture is pretty nervous and hesitant to give kids the kind of space and time and independence that they need in order to grow and be who they're meant to be. And that's partly, say, homework, for example. It takes up a lot of their time. Kids need some of their time back.
Yeah, I don't know if kids are the same when I went to school, spending time with other kids as much. I don't think so. I mean, just from, going around, you see playgrounds here, they're empty. I don't see kids doing that on the weekends. I don't know if that seems to be kind of an issue there. Kids aren't spending as much time with other kids as they are with maybe adults.
Well, and kids are also, the time they get together with children tends to be scheduled at a certain play date.
Right.
So spontaneous games don't happen as much when it has to be scheduled.
There's some other good rules in here. Just a couple we want to go over them quickly. It's okay not to kiss grandma. I thought that was kind of funny. Can you talk about that one?
Yeah, I have to apologize for all the wonderful grandmothers in the world. But really, this can be a difficult thing for a child to encounter an overly loving grandparent who comes in, and kids need to feel comfortable about who touches their body. Some of that's basic safety. And we even know that family and friends are the ones that harm kids the most with touching them wrong.
Right.
So when we expect them to just go into the full embrace of a relative, we have to remember that we're also teaching them to be safe. So if a child is wanting to just not in the mood to be hugged or touched, they need to be able to say, I don't want to right now, and have that be respected.
Yeah, good point. And also, which I think is very important, and you have a couple of sections in the book about don't shield the kids necessarily from bad news that's going on in the world, right? Deal with news disasters. I think that's one of your rules. That's a good thing.
Yeah, well, it's okay. We don't need to bring the kids completely into the stresses and pressures of an adult world, but
right.
If something big has happened in the news, chances are kids have picked up on it in some level, and they may be worried about it. So we won't talk about it with them, but maybe they already know that more than we think, or chances are they have more misinformation than we think. So, check in with your kids, and if they have a question, if she's old enough to ask, she's old enough to get an honest answer, is a good rule of thumb.
Yeah, obviously you don't want to give every detail if it's a terrible thing, but don't totally ignore them from what's going on, right, or block them from finding out what's going on. I think that's a good point.
And kids can cope with sad stories. They can cope with things that aren't fair, and you can talk about it. But sometimes we try to shield children, even in the storybooks we read to them, with books that have a sad ending. Or a sad situation, but children are interested in that, and they can awaken compassion in them, and they have those kind of sad feelings. They need to see it reflected around them too.
Well, it's a really interesting book, as we mentioned. It's okay to go up the slide. Renegade Rules for Raising Confident and Creative Kids, and really laid out very. Easy to read, and you have 21 different rules in there. I think you make a lot of sense, Heather, and Heather Shumaker has been our guest. Do you have a website you want to direct people to?
Sure. The website is heathershumaker.com.
That's SHUMAKER, just to give the last name spelling. But Heather, appreciate you taking a few minutes to join us, and hopefully we can talk to you again. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks so much.
Jack Jones, the singer, honors Frank Sinatra on the 100th anniversary of his birth with a new CD aptly titled Seriously Frank.
The best is yet to come, babe. Won't it be fine?
This wonderful collection of songs reflects the life, times, and career of Mr. Sinatra, all interpreted in Jack's own soulful, reflective, and inimitable style.
When he was 17, it was a very good year.
In the words of Mr. Sinatra, Jack Jones is one of the major singers of our time, and Frank Jr. says that Jack is probably the best of us.
This is my first affair, so please be kind.
Enjoy and celebrate this 100th anniversary with this consummate tribute to Mr. Sinatra with the musical and vocal artistry of Jack Jones. This CD, Seriously Frank, is a wonderful way to appreciate the best of the best this holiday season and throughout this special anniversary year.
Nothing at all, yeah. Nothing at all. Nothing at
Order Seriously Frank by Jack Jones at jackjonesmusicstore.com. That's jackjonesmusicstore.com.
If you'd like to order the book we're talking about, please go to DougMilesMedia.com and enter the author's name in the Amazon search box. Thank you for listening. Please come back soon for more conversations here at DougMilesMedia.com. This has been a presentation of Doug Miles Media, all rights reserved. You can listen to or download previous programs at iTunes, Stitcher.com, or Doug Miles Media.